Which one there, over there?
Yeah, the one over there. Maybe just over on this side of this point.
Okay, let's begin. From awardee to moderator, no? So, ganyan talaga sa Pilipinas. We have to be ready all the time. Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul. I'm from Southridge. Welcome to this breakout session. The script says, I have to be like the council chairman here, no? How are you finding the Building Bridges conference so far? And the script says you have to respond affirmatively. Are you having a good time? Fantastic. All right. We have our first breakout session now. For this session, I have the honor of introducing our speaker, who is the head of leadership and character development at IMG Academy, the world leader in sports education. He won the Champion of Character in Sports Award in 2022. He is a former player of the LA Dodgers. He is now passionate about supporting students, athletes, educators, coaches, and parents in effective long-term education to nurture positive youth development. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Filipino round of applause, a warm Filipino welcome to Dr. Pete Paciorek.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. How's the mic volume? Is it good? Okay. It's great to be here with you all. What a beautiful auditorium, a beautiful school. Thank you to Paul. Thank you for Danny Moran and Man Rintoy and Southridge School and everybody, all the student leaders that poured so much work into this global conference. I remember Man Rintoy and Danny Moran were telling me about this about a year and a half ago, that they had this idea, and to be on this stage, to share this day, to share the next couple days with you all is truly a privilege. So I'm glad to be here to talk about student misbehavior, which seems to be on the rise across the globe. And so what I have found is when we focus on character development, and I know this is 100% in alignment with all of the pair of schools and everybody in this room, we can help heal that, we can help bring positive change to the world. So I'm so honored to be here today. I love this picture. Is this Coach in the room? Is this Coach? What's her name? Is she here today? Tell her that I love this picture, because this picture is everything we talk about. Today I'm going to be talking about the being and the doing of character development. Yesterday, I had a chance in this same auditorium to share with a large group of coaches and educators on a book that I had written previously called Character Loves Company, Teaching the Teachable Moments in Sports. And it was great to share for about an hour and a half. And we talked about, in my book, which I talked about yesterday, this is called Character Loves Company. It's really the doing of character. I have all kinds of activities in there that I didn't make up any of them. I learned them from coaches. I learned them from people like you all that we all share in this community. I love the idea of iron sharpens iron. Father Esteban, I really appreciate your message, so thank you for that. And this idea of Christian values and building strong Christian men and women of character. And I love this idea, and I share this idea with you. So this picture of your coach here, she's not only doing the character, but she's also embodying the being of character, which is a big part of what I'll be talking about today. Okay, so as I said, that's the book I talked about yesterday is The Doing. Today we're going to be focusing on Prime to Compete, Coaching or Educating for Character, which is a book that I have co-authored with Dr. Marvin Berkowitz, who's close friends with Man Rintoy, and Thomas, like Dr. Lycona as well, who was able to give that great message about Southridge becoming a school of character. And so this book is due to the publisher in a couple weeks now, and it probably will come out in print in a couple months, but it's talking about the being of character. So as we all know, it takes a village to raise children. We have to partner We get to partner as educators, as coaches, as administrators with parents. And I love what PARIF is all about, what it stands for literally. The name PARIF stands for, it embodies including parents with educators in this partnership. And so it's very important that I put it in red font that we partner around common language. So today, that's what I'm going to share with you is a framework that's rooted in 30 to 40 years of character education so that we all can share this common language. Parents, coaches, teachers, educators, administrators, local community, everybody sharing together. When we're on the same page as educators, who benefits? The students. When we're not on the same page and there's tension, who doesn't benefit? Or the disadvantage goes to our children. And we're all working together. It takes a village. So that's what I'll be talking about today. Whoops, I think I skipped a slide or two. I got a little excited. Okay, I put this slide up there and I thank Paul for his introduction. I put this up there because a couple years ago, I was at a conference and there were a lot of people that had doctor in their name and a lot of other people that seemed to be famous or seemed to be people that were well-to-do. And after people going around the room introducing themselves, this one individual, and it was people of all kinds of different faiths, Christians, Muslims, all kinds of different Jewish, everybody coming together to share ideas and to collaborate in our community in St. Louis, Missouri. And one individual who happened to be a Christian, he said, my favorite title, and I share this with you all, I shared it yesterday too. My favorite title, I love being a father, I love being a husband, it's very important, but my favorite title is a child of God. I see myself as a Christian brother of you all and a child of God, and when I look out at this audience, to be here in this audience at Pair of Schools at Southridge with you all, I see you all in the same way, and I think that's the best way we can see each other as children of God. There's all kinds of titles we put on ourselves or we put on other people or labels, but to come about it that way, we're all in this together, and I feel so honored to be here with you all today. This is a picture of my family who means so much to me. And I'm going to bring him here to the Philippines. So we're going to talk about PRIME today, which is an acronym, and I know Dr. Dub is going to share some ideas around PRIME. We both have a similar or the same mentor, one of our mentors, Dr. Marvin Berkowitz, and I know he's going to come at it from one angle, and I'll come at it from a different angle, but it comes back to this idea of creating common language. When we have common language, now that's the best way, that's the best approach to create common language with our students and at our schools. So primed, educating for character. And by the way, if I can go back a slide, this logo, let's give a round of applause for the student leaders who created that logo. That looks so beautiful. Such a beautiful logo for a wonderful conference, Building Bridges. Okay, so one of my heroes, Nelson Mandela. A lot of you probably know, so I'm not going to give a history lesson on Nelson Mandela, but a true hero across the world. And he had a quote saying, sport has the power to change the world, and I truly believe it does. If coaches and educators understand their role as character educators, it truly can change the world. So this is the framework that I'm going to be working through, and I think it will help create common language with you all as you work not just in Southridge or Woodrose or Northfield or the different pair of schools, but so you can create common language across all the schools. So the first, it's an acronym PRIME. So the first P, or the P, is the meta design principle. It stands for prioritization and purpose. And I'll go into more details. The R is relationships. The I is intrinsic motivation. The M is modeling. The E is empowerment, and the D is development, or developmental pedagogy. So what I love about PRIME, it's not a rigid curriculum, it's a framework. And as I say on here, if you can see this, it's an evidence-based framework or a lens. So today I want to create and provide you all with a lens to look through. So no matter what role you play, if you're a coach, if you're an administrator, if you're a head of school, if you're a principal, if you're a parent, if you're a community member, you can use PRIME. If you're a parent with your own children, I use this in my work, but I also use it in my personal life. and it helps me feel more fulfilled, and it helps me stay more grounded and connected, because as you all know, teaching is hard. Coaching is hard, and some people say it's harder than ever. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it takes all of us working together as educators to help build up our youth. And this is rooted in 30 plus years of evidence-based research around what works in character education in schools. Okay, so I come from IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, as Paul said in my introduction, which is the world's largest youth sports facility in the world. When I got there a year and a half ago, there wasn't a whole lot of language on character development. We were doing a lot of performance. There was performance in the classroom, there was performance on the tennis courts, on the soccer pitch, volleyball, and the sports. But now we're really, just like you all, we would love at IMG Academy to become a state and a national school of character, just like you all. But we have to work through that process, and we have to work through some things, and we have to improve. We have to look in the mirror and hold each other accountable. So that's what I'm hoping all of us can do today, is hold each other accountable to that high standard as character educators. So, prioritization and purpose. So this is the founder of IMG Academy. He recently passed away. He's a tennis legend. He worked with Andre Agassi. If any of you are tennis stars, Andre Agassi, Serena Williams, Jim Courier. And as I said, he recently passed away, but he had a true purpose. He knew his purpose. He got up out of bed every single morning and knew his purpose. So as an educator, as a coach, as a school administrator, as a parent, if we know our main purpose and that fuels us, we're going to show up and be our best on a regular basis. It also stands for prioritization. What are we prioritizing? As a coach at IMG Academy, we pride ourselves in, we win national championships. Oftentimes we're the best baseball program or the best football program or the best soccer program in the whole country, in the United States. But I'm trying to emphasize, and we're getting more of an emphasis on prioritizing character. Just what you all do. You're leading the way, you're paving the way. This conference here, this Building Bridges conference, is a testament that you all are paving the way, and we want to follow your lead. So kudos to you all. So that's prioritization and purpose. Now, this is the 4 pillars of character. We talk with our athletes all the time, our students all the time, and I have a couple copies of this. If anybody wants a copy, I can give you a copy of this after. I also have little cards. I think Man Rintoy might have printed some of these out as well for you all. Maybe you already got one, but I printed out hundreds of these. So if you would like to take one of these as a reminder that you can put in your pocket or you can give to a coach who might need one, after this talk is over, please come forward and feel free to take one or take many for your friends. Okay, so are you prioritizing, are we prioritizing character? Are we prioritizing balance in our lives? So if we could do this, I want to, if I can have 8 volunteers. Can I have 8 volunteers from the audience to come forward on stage with me? I like doing audience participation. Yes, come forward, please. Come forward. Okay. Come on this side, please. We have 3 volunteers. We need 5 more. I've been known as an educator to call on people, but I don't want to do that. Maybe we have some student leaders. Do we have any student leaders in here who want to come forward? You want to come? Yes. Okay, we have 5. We have 6. Thank you. If you all can come on this side of the table. Okay, we need 2 more. I see somebody in the back trying to hide. I love audience participation. Okay, I think I see 1 coming and we need 1 more. Are you making your way up here? Yes, we have our 8. Give it up for our 8. Thank you all for having the courage to come forward. So we're going to demonstrate. I like to share activities that you can use as educators, and I want to learn activities from you all. Okay. Was she trying to hide? Oh. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're gonna have a relay race. So we're gonna go U4, we're already separated. U4 will be over here lined up. Okay, so we can line up, you'll be first, second, third, fourth, and then U4, and you can be our leader right here, please. So over here, if you don't mind, and 4 behind. Okay, we're gonna do a little relay race here as we talk about the importance of balance in our lives. Okay, we don't just wanna live in this performance pillar. When I was growing up, I came from a family of 11 professional baseball players. I thought that was my way to be successful in life. So I didn't try real hard academically. I was a good person, I was a good friend, but I didn't nearly give as much as I could academically until I got into professional baseball and I realized, you know what? I can be just as successful academically as I can athletically. So one of my main messages is you're a student before you're an athlete. So you have to have balance. It can't just be about your sport performance. And it can't just be about performance in general. You have to have your moral character. You have to have, which is the most important right here, is your moral character, your ethics. You have to have intellectual character and you have to have your civic character. It's so important to have balance as educators, as adults, to model balance for our young people, but also to help teach them and to cultivate balance in them. So here's the activity. So we have 2 stacks of 10 Gatorade cups. 10 cups. You have to hustle over one by one. You have to come over and you have to stack 4, 3, 2, 1 with all the pressure of everybody watching. And then you have to unstack them real quick. Okay? And then you have to come back and high five your teammate. And then your teammate goes. So we're gonna see who the first team to stack it up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, aren't you so disappointed you didn't volunteer? You're like, oh, I knew I should have volunteered. Okay, thank you all. Okay, so this is a fun activity. Okay, so on your marks, let's count it down. 3, 2, 1, go! Cheer for them, cheer for them. Stack it down. Break it down, break it down. Okay, make sure you don't double stack. Make sure you don't double stack. Here we go. You're double stack, you're double stack.
Double stack?
Double stack, see?
Okay.
You gotta make sure you don't double stack the cup. There you go. Dr. Dub Dub, good job, here we go, woo! Oh, you're double stack, double stack. You got it, you got it, you got it. You gotta go touch their hand, break it down, break it down. Great job, everybody, round of applause for you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on stage. Thank you. Thank you for coming on stage. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. You almost made a valiant comeback right there. Okay. There may be more opportunities for the rest of you. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, so thank you all. So, as we noticed, as you were going, there was a little pressure. You started to get nervous and the crowd is watching you. So it gives us as adults some perspective when we put ourselves in the spotlight sometimes, just like our children are in the spotlight. We're not always gonna perform in our best, as long as we give our best effort. That's the message we want. It's about process-oriented, not being and participating, giving your best, being engaged. It's not necessarily whether you become a major league athlete or you become the valedictorian with the highest GPA. It's about the process. And so the more we can support our young people, the more we can partner around a common language to build up our youth. And I love the word that Man Rintoy used about thriving and about flourishing. We want our young people to flourish. So this is not just for students, this is also for ourselves. I want you all to take a few seconds to reflect and say, do you have balance? Are you modeling that balance for the young people, whether you're a teacher or a parent or a community member? Do you live in this area too much? Which is not a bad thing, but we want to make sure we have balance. And when we have balance in our schools, when we have balance in our homes, that's when you get that team character where everybody's working together, and it's such a fun environment to be in. So balance is so key. And I love this next slide. One of my colleagues, Richard Thompson at IMG Academy, he's a 4-time Olympian. He ran against Usain Bolt. He's from Trinidad, Tobago, and he's so humble. I have to make him brag about himself. And he ran in 4 Olympics in the finals against Usain Bolt. He earned 2 silver medals and 1 gold medal. And I introduced him to the 4 pillars of character, and he loved it so much. And he brought this table, this chair, wooden chair. What happens if you sit in this chair? You fall over, right? Or you counterbalance. And when you counterbalance, what happens? It leads to a topic right now. It leads to mental health. It leads to burnout. It leads to additional stress on your mind and your body. So it's so important with our young people. And I can share this slide deck with anybody. I'll share it with Man Rintoy. If anybody wants the slide deck here, you can take it. But also, if you want a copy of this, everything we do at IMG Academy gears around this framework of the 4 pillars of character. Okay, additionally, I have some worksheets. I'm going to work with our student leaders here at Pair of Schools on Sunday. I get to spend, I think, an hour and a half with them. And we're going to talk about their purpose, how important it is to have a clear purpose. What is it that drives you and fuels you? So in the middle, we talk about who they are right now. Who are they hoping, what type of person are they hoping to become? And so their identity right now, and then who they hope to become, and what habits are they building in that middle rung. Same thing with us as adults. We never stop growing. So if anybody would like a worksheet, I have these up here that you can take home if you're an educator and you want to take one of these to use with your students or your teams. I have some of those for you here as well. So let's take a minute, not even a minute, 30 seconds, and I want you to complete in your head this purpose model. I want you to think about who you are right now, how far you've come in your life. Think back to maybe when you were a high school age or a middle school age, and I want you to reflect with how far you've come. But we're not done learning, right? We're not done growing. Continuous improvement. We're always learning. So where are you going? Where are you working? Are your habits aligned with that? And it's so important for our young people to establish their why. It's never too early. The research shows never too early to have a clear purpose that fuels you. And we all share something in common that I don't always get to share this with audiences that I talk to, especially at IMG Academy, because there's so many different faiths. But to know that those Christian values, we want those Christian values rooted in our young people. We want that formation to come out and continue to cultivate and blossom in our young people. So we want to help our students find their noble purpose. And what the research shows, and I think back to when I was younger, my purpose was I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. I wanted to play for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay, I accomplished that for a small, brief period of time. But that was just focused on me. As I focus outside on other people, as I take my focus from myself and I focus on other people, the world opens up. My fulfillment is so much stronger. And what the research shows on purpose and your why is if we can get young people to focus on, sure, they want to be the best versions of themselves. They want to get into a great high school and a great college, and they want to have a terrific job. But also, what is life truly about? Truly what life is about is the impact, the positive impact that you have on other people. So it's never too early for us to cultivate that. And I know in the community that we're in the pair of schools, that we're all in alignment. It's just such a beautiful message for our young people to think about giving to other people. How can we give? How can we serve? How can we be servant leaders, just like Christ Jesus? Okay, so relationships. This is one of my favorite design principles to think about each day. I use this PRIME framework as I'm walking to work, as I'm driving to work. I use it for 2 or 3 minutes, and in my head, I go through each of these 6 design principles. Every day, I can intentionally think about somebody. Maybe it's somebody on my staff, my leadership and character development team. Maybe it's a colleague. Maybe it's a parent. Maybe it's a student that I work with. If we're not intentional about building these relationships, they probably won't. They might happen. They might happen, but they might not. So if there's young people that you work with that are going through something challenging, maybe one of their parents is ill. Maybe a pet passed away. Maybe they're struggling in some area of their life. As an adult, what the research shows, if we can reach out and we can be a champion for those people in our schools, it can make a world of difference. So I push you each to think about that daily, to use Primed to create common language across the pair of schools. Use it with your families, use it in your schools, use it in all areas of your life, but create that common language and think about it. So we can just take 20 seconds right now to pause, I'll stop talking, and just think about somebody, a young student that you come in contact with, that you're fortunate to work with, that you're like, you know what, I'm gonna make a point today, or I'm gonna make a point on Monday in school to go up to that individual and check in on them. So let's just take a brief few moments of time. Did everybody have a name or a face come into your head? Yes, I'm not going to have you share, obviously, but intentionality. When we think about building relationships and also creating environments in our classrooms, environments on our sports teams, where they can build relationships of trust with each other is so important. I love this picture right here. It's one of our coaches from IMG Academy, and this young man came up to him. He needed that. He needed that. I know in today's society it says that you have to stay back and you can't, have that type of interaction, but when the student initiates it, sometimes they need that extra support. I love this quote, children don't care what you know. So I was a professional baseball player. When I work with baseball players, sure, that might get me a little bit of street cred with them, but they don't really care what I have to truly share with them about character development or about leadership until they know that I care about them. And that takes time. It takes time. And Danny talked about today how much the cell phone is such a big part of their life. So it's even maybe more challenging because they want to stay secluded in their room. That's why coaches, I really push this to coaches. You have an active audience. You have young people, or teachers. You have young people who love coming to your class. They love coming to your classroom. They love coming to practice after school to work with you. So if you're emphasizing the wrong thing, they're paying attention. If you're only focused on winning, and that's all you care about, or if you're undermining the other team, or you're talking negatively about the opponents, or you're talking negatively about the officials or the umpires, they're watching. These young people are watching everything that we're doing, and we'll talk about that in modeling as well. But they don't care what you know until they know that you care. So we do something at our campus at IMG that we started a year ago called cross-age mentoring. And you probably do this at the pair of schools. You're set up perfectly in the way your schools are aligned, and the proximity to work with either other pair of schools, elementary school, middle school, high school, to have the older students empower them to build relationships with the young people, building that legacy where now you're not just talking about leadership, you're not just talking about character, you're giving them opportunities, you're creating an environment where they can step into that environment and actually lead. So if your schools aren't doing cross-age mentoring, that's something I suggest you think about doing. And if you want to reach out to me, my email address is on the last slide, and I'd love to talk about it, share what we're doing. Across our campus, we have probably 1,200 students on our campus that live in the dorms. So we have a cross-age mentoring program with our student life, with our school, and with our sports programs. And it's having such great benefits across our campus as far as culture, as far as young people feeling that sense of safety and that sense of well-being on campus. So the more we can help cultivate environments, and our football team at IMG Academy last year was the #1 football team in the whole country in the United States. We have players going to the NFL and going all these great places. To ask our head coach for 20 minutes to where, hey coach, can you in practice 20 minutes early so I can do a cross-age mentoring program on the field? He looked at me a little sideways, but I said, I guarantee you it's gonna have a terrific impact on your team culture. And now he lets me do it all the time. Hey, Coach P, he says, when do you want to do another cross-age mentoring program? So teachers, classroom educators, collaborate with your sport coaches, because we're all about the same thing. Collaborate with parents, because we're all about the same thing. We're all on the same page, and it takes a village to raise up a kid. Oh, here we go. I might have skipped one. There we go. Okay, so relationships. You reflected on that one student. Okay, I ask you to be intentional about that. If you're not intentional, it's probably not going to happen. You're going to forget. Okay, so be intentional today. Think about that student and apply it. Work with them today. Reach out with them today. There's different ways that you can build partnerships with parents. I know this is, we have a lot of parents in the room, I'm sure, today. And I love that Parif is so involved in partnering with parents, because it doesn't often happen. Oftentimes at schools, you have parents over here, and you have educators and coaches over here. Why not bring it together? Why not speak the same language? Why not work together, respect each other, and build the kids that we want to build together? So a couple strategies that we are starting to use now that I've used over the years is weekly communication. The more, if you're an educator or coach, the more you can communicate weekly through an electronic email home not about necessarily what you're doing content-wise in your math class, but about how you're cultivating character through your math class, or through your soccer team, or through your football team, or whatever sport or whatever activity, whatever subject you teach. So that's one thing that really helps to get ahead of stuff and be proactive at creating that common language. Another one is to have a survey. Do a preseason survey. Do a pre-school year survey with your parents and ask the parents, what are 3 virtues or values that you hope that your child will learn through math or through sport this year? Now, when it comes to the season, let's say for a sports standpoint, and their child is not in the starting lineup, oftentimes you get a lot of conflict between parent and coaches on playing time. Well, if we step back as a parent and we say, what do I really care about? I really care about my son or my daughter growing through the vehicle of sport. The #1 priority is not playing time usually at that point. But then when the season rolls around, it becomes more important. So the more we can be proactive and get on the same page as parents, as educators, the more helpful it is for our young people. And then I ask you, the last one there, I ask you, who's on your character development team? There's 9 pair of schools, I believe. I wonder how many schools have a character development team across your whole campus. So we did not have one at IMG Academy a year ago, and we started one recently. And the dividends that it's playing across campus, we have so many different departments on campus that operate in silos. We don't even know what each other are doing. And Parif is probably a lot better than we are, because you're here at a global conference on character education, so you care. You value this stuff. But as we started to put student life, our dorm staff is on the character development team. Our sport coaches are on the character development team. Our assistant head of school is on the character development team. I'm on the character development team. So the more you can include parents are on the character development team. The more we include all stakeholders in this, the better it is, and the more it behooves your entire school to build up the students that you work with. Okay, intrinsic motivation, this is one of my favorite virtues, and probably Dr. Dub will talk about this, I'm sure, because this is one that I really struggled with at first when Dr. Marvin Berkowitz introduced this to me. Intrinsic motivation. Are we motivating our young people through intrinsic means? Or are we only focused on the extrinsic motivators? Winning championships, GPA, scholarships to college. Okay, we want to make sure we're focusing on having balance, going back to the 4 pillars of character. We want to balance all areas of our young people. Are they committed to social impact? Are they committed to community, making their communities better? It's not just about their performance. We can't just live in that red zone. So intrinsic motivation, it's going to challenge you to think differently. It's going to challenge you to think differently about the way you do things. Okay, so the research shows that just like purpose, your motivation is, if it's others focused, if you're focused on other people, you're going to stay more connected to that purpose and to that motivation. Okay, if it's only about yourself, as soon as you start to struggle, you might lose that motivation, and we especially see that when we work with young people. Okay, so we want to cultivate that. We want to try to cultivate in our young people a bigger picture. Bigger picture. How are the pair of schools not just cultivating the brightest minds to go out and innovate and come up with new ideas, but how are we also in the pair of schools cultivating, or how are you all cultivating that student, that civic character, that student who loves to give, who wants to help their fellow classmates. They're not in competition. I know a lot of students at different schools where they don't want to help a fellow student because they want to be the valedictorian. And they think, if I help that student, now they're going to pass me up. No, we all know this idea, this biblical saying that's so strong and so foundational is iron sharpens iron. So the more we lift each other up, the more we hold each other accountable, the more we help each other, the better everybody becomes. So intrinsic motivation is something that I continue to work on. I didn't want to go into too much detail on that one, but it's definitely something that we want our young people to cultivate, intrinsic motivators for being the best people they can be, not just getting the A in the class or being in the starting lineup. The next one is modeling, role modeling. All of you, everybody in the room, is a force multiplier for good. We're all working together to cultivate good in our young people. So it's important that we think about not just what we're doing as a role model, but sometimes we have to be intentional and share what it is that we're doing with young people and why we're doing it. They might not understand if you're coaching at the middle school level and you're a middle school. We have any middle school coaches in the room? Anybody who coaches? No? Mainly educated. There's one. There's one. Thank you. What sport? Soccer. So at the middle school level, is winning the #1 priority? It shouldn't be at the high school level either. But so playing time, how do you deal with playing time at the middle school level with soccer?
Try to make it equal, as equal as possible.
Try to make it equal as possible, right? Because it's developmental. Maybe when you get to the high school level, it's more earned. Okay, so your student athletes might not understand that. So you're modeling providing opportunities. You're modeling that you're not just about winning at all costs. You're modeling that it's not about your own ego as a coach. It's about the development of the young people. But they might not get that, right? They're kids. They might not understand that. So as role models, sometimes it's very important to do the right thing, but it's also important to be intentional about explaining why. And this is a step that I feel like I've grown in. As somebody coming from a high level as an athlete, I would just tell the players this is the right thing to do. And sometimes we do that as parents, just do it because I said it. But young people, the more we can help them, the more we can role model not just doing the right thing, but also explaining what it is and why. That's a little bit deeper. So role modeling is not just one-dimensional. You have to also help them better understand why you're doing things. So exactly like Coach said right here in the front, he doesn't care about winning. He wants at that level, he wants to try to distribute, I mean, he probably cares about winning. I mean, we all care about winning. We all care about winning, and winning is important, but it's not more important than character development. It's not more important than providing opportunities, especially at the middle school level. Now, it might be a little bit different at the high school level where young people have to realize that, you know what, just because I got equal opportunity or close to equal opportunity to play at the middle school level, it might not happen. It probably won't happen in high school because there's a little bit more on it as far as trying to win. Okay, so explaining that, we have to take it a step further. We can't just expect that our young people have it all figured out because we probably didn't have it all figured out as well. So model the right behavior, but then sometimes you got to go a step further and explain what it is you're doing and why it is you're doing it. I love this picture right here. This is 3 of our top baseball players, and I invited them, I empowered them to come talk to 56 of our young middle school baseball players. And every single one of our middle school players looks up to them. It was such a cool opportunity for these guys, and they thanked me. I thanked them for coming. They said, Coach, that was so much fun. When can we do it again? To know as a high school student, to know that you're more than just a jersey, a number on your jersey. You're more than just your GPA, that you're giving back to your local community. You're giving back to the next generation of students coming through Parif School, coming through Southridge, or whatever school it is that you're from, is so important. So let's try to create environments and opportunities for our young people to be those role models for the next generation. Okay, empowerment. Another one of our football players, same thing, same idea. I try to provide as many opportunities to empower our young athletes. It's one thing to talk about leadership. It's another thing to talk about some of these character development concepts. It's another thing to actually provide them with opportunities. And what I've heard already in the last day or so, and getting to know Man Rintoy, and getting to know Danny Moran, and getting to know Quinto, and getting to know a lot of you, you provide so many wonderful opportunities for your students to grow in character and to empower them. And from an athletic standpoint, it's very easy. And also from an academic standpoint, it's very easy to say, you know what, I'm the expert. I have a such and such degree in chemistry, biology, math, coaching, whatever it is. I played a lot longer than these players. To think that you have to have a top-down, I know it all mentality, and I'm the one giving all the instruction. Why not empower? Why not create classrooms when we're empowering our young people to lead each other? Why not create sports teams where we're empowering them to lead each other? It doesn't have to be us doing all the talking. Okay, so here are the benefits of empowering, the benefits for ourselves, the benefits for our students, and the benefits for our colleagues. Okay, who doesn't want these? Who doesn't want to see these in your students? Better buy-in. I'll get out of the way. I see some people taking pictures. Sorry, I'm blocking. Better buy-in. Who doesn't want more committed students? More committed student athletes on their sports teams. So when we empower them, you're going to see that. There's a direct relationship between empowered students, empowered athletes, and more buy-in, more commitment. They're more accountable to giving their best, to showing up and being their best. If they feel empowered, they're more coachable, they're more teachable. They improve. Their grades improve. Their sport performance improves. And they're more enjoyable to be around because they actually feel like they want to be there. They have something to say. Their voice is being heard. They have increased self-confidence, and they also have your culture. You'll see that if you come from a culture where you're used to having all the control yourself, a classroom or a sports team, and all of a sudden you're empowering the young people. At first they might be shocked, but then you're going to see they're going to show up with smiles on their faces. They're going to be excited to be there. So, and I was as guilty as anybody of this, of saying, you know what, that young person, that young man just doesn't want to learn. They just don't care to learn. And I'm not saying that it's easy. Coaching, teaching is hard. It's very hard. But these young people, the ones who we want to give up on, who we want to say, you know what, that person's, they don't care, they don't want to be here, those are the ones that need us even more. Those are the ones, when we go back to thinking about relationships, those are the ones that should be on our daily relationship. How can we reach out to that young man or that young woman to help them feel empowered, to build that relationship of trust with them? So opportunities, I want to check my time because I want to value the next speakers coming up. I know we started a little bit late, so. Okay, so student leader empowerment, opportunities to empower. So make this, look through the lens, use primed, and make it your own. Okay, I'm using this more from a sports standpoint, but your pre-practice. Oftentimes teams will do a huddle. And when I was coaching, oftentimes who was talking during that huddle? Me, doing all the talking. Okay, so empower your young people, whether they're seniors, juniors, or they're freshmen, lower classmen, empower them. Give them the platform. Give them the voice during that time, during the pre-practice huddle. Team drills. In school, I see how this can relate into the classroom as well, but team drills. For baseball, we do bunt plays. We do, I know in all the sports, there's different drills that come with each sport. Well, you have return players who have been in your program for a few years now. So rather than you as the coach giving all the information, why not empower one of the players who's been there? Do you think maybe, sure, we'll have to fill in the gap a little bit? Yeah, maybe they won't quite go over the content as well as you would. We could probably do this in the classroom as well. I think we can empower our young people in the classroom and the sports field. So we have our coaches at IMG Academy who are so used to, they played in the NFL, or they're used to everything is they're giving all the instruction. Now they're starting to step back and give some of that power to the students and empower our students. Team and class meetings. This is something I'll talk about tomorrow in a talk, but oftentimes there's some classrooms I see doing this as well, where they create classroom values. They create classroom norms and expectations and behaviors for how to behave with each other. But oftentimes it's the coach or the teacher coming up with all those because it's easier to do it that way. It's more timely that way. Okay, but my recommendation now is, and in the new book that we're writing, we write about this, we spend an entire chapter talking about team meetings. So your first team meeting, you could go over the school's values, and you can connect and empower your student athletes to think about how are the school values, how do they align with who we are? Let's come up with our own values. Instead of the coach saying, hey, we're about this, 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 and this, well, you're not going to get buy-in from your students if it's all your ideas. So we can empower our young people to come up with their values and then maybe let those values marinate. Give it a whole hour where you're sacrificing practice because you want to get your culture right. You want to get your values right before you put on your uniform and start practicing. And then maybe after a week, you come back together, maybe it's a rainy day activity, and you work on your norms. So you ask them, you say, here's our 5 core values that we all agreed upon. We agreed upon them together. It wasn't just coach telling us what they were. Okay, so now what does this look like? How do these norms show up on a daily basis? How do we treat each other? What type of teammates are we? How do we lift up our opponents? When our opponents, another school comes in to play us, do we greet them or do we snarl at them? Okay, do we treat them with respect or do we treat them as enemies? Sure, we want to win. We get that. It's competitive. But we can still respect them. So how do your values translate over into your norms? And I wouldn't recommend doing this in one day or in one 30-minute session. Take your time. Unpack this. Think about who you want to be, because now you're doing all that proactive work. Now you don't have to come back, circle back after the fact when you don't have a strong classroom culture or you don't have a strong sports team culture. You establish that right off the bat. It's vitally important. Your values, then your norms, and then you come up with your goals. But what we do, and what I did for 30 years, 27 years as a coach before I learned about this, was I came up with the goals. And sure, we had a meeting, but it wasn't very empowering for them. It was more of Coach P's goals. It wasn't the team's goals. And so then, when the season's not going the way we want, and I'm wondering why they're not really bought into our goals, it's because they weren't their goals. They were my goals. So, values, norms, and goals. I already talked about cross-age mentoring. It's a great program. If you're not doing it, I would highly, highly recommend it at your schools. It's a great way to empower your older students to work with your younger students. It's also a great way for those younger students to feel that sense of safety, feel that sense of love. They'll go home and say, Mom, Dad, guess what? I met this junior on the soccer team, and they were so nice, and they treated me so great. Now you're building that sense of safety, that sense of community. So cross-age mentoring is a great program. Awards banquets. Oftentimes, who does all the talking at an awards banquet? The coach. The coach has a hoarse voice, just like I do right now, because I'm talking too much. But how can we empower the young people to come up in front of the microphone, just like you all do here at the start with your student leaders? That was beautiful. The choir, the chorus. I mean, what a great way to start this off, to start this conference off, but empowering your young people. I know it wasn't just Man Rentoy and the Southridge administration and all the pair of schools and adults that set up this conference. A lot of it was the young people. A lot of it was the young student leaders. They did a whole lot of the work, and you empowered them to do that. So you all are leading by example. But awards banquets, a great way. I know we do awards banquets in schools as well for the, all kinds of different, the math award or the this award. So rather than it being driven by the adults, we can drive it by the students. So it's a great way to empower. And then my favorite one, I have an asterisk next to that one, volunteer events. If we want to get our young people, we talk about, I know there's a talk today on mental well-being and mental health, and I think one of the biggest roots of that, the mental health challenges we have, is this, and social media, and kids comparing themselves to other people, which isn't reality, what they're putting on social media. And one of my favorite quotes to share with young people is, comparison could be a good thing. Comparison can make you work harder, right? I know I can improve and get better. But comparison can also be the thief of joy. Comparison can be the thief of joy if we let it, because we're always comparing ourselves to somebody else's social media. We're always in our own head focusing on me, me, me. So if we can get our young people out in the communities, cross-age mentoring, giving back to younger people, out in Manila, out in the different towns that you live in, giving back, it's going to empower them and help them realize that they're so much more than just a student. They have so much more to give to this world. Okay, I'm going to zoom through this last couple slides just to honor the time. Actionize your empowerment. I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. I know basketball is huge here in the Philippines. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So when I reflect on the primed framework every day after work, that's usually the one where I said, I could have done more. And I could have done more at this talk today to get you all on stage and volunteer, to come up and do stuff like we did that one activity. I should have done more of that. It's more engaging. People remember that. They remember stories. Okay, so give it a try. Give it a try. If you're not empowering in your classrooms, if you're not empowering with your sports team, give it a try. Okay, and last one right here is development, long-term development is, I know you have, in some of the schools, you have Taekwondo. I love that for the balance, for the respect, for all that. When we talk about the 4 pillars of character, this is a framework, and I know Dr. Dub will talk about it as well because he and I collaborated a little bit. But this is something that's going to help you show up your best, your own self. It's going to help your colleagues. It's going to help students. It's going to help your schools. It's going to help your families. come together around a common language. So I really greatly appreciate your time. Salamat po is I think how you say it. Thank you all so much. If you could take a picture of that QR code and provide me with some feedback. It's just 3 questions on some takeaways that you had. And thank you so much. I look forward to interacting with you all and learning from your great speakers. And just, I feel honored to be here today, so thank you very much.
Check. There. Thank you, Pete. Another warm round of applause, please, for Coach P for his wonderful, wonderful presentation. I'm sure it was very enriching for all of us, the primed framework, but also the little nuances. My personal takeaway was something he mentioned at the start, which is developing a common language, right? So I think that one is very important, that language that we use with our students. For example, at least from the academic perspective, we can congratulate a student for, wow, you got 100 in your exam or something like that. But if we switch the language a little bit, we can also say, wow, did you put in a lot of work into that exam? You were so hard working for that particular exam. So that language that we use with our students, with our athletes is wonderful. It's very important. All right, let's take maybe a 3-minute CR break, washroom break, before we proceed to the next set of talks. Let me just remind you of what those breakout sessions are. Give me a moment. So here we have the presentation of Dr. Dabdob on teaching for character. And then Ms. Chippy Dioko is going to talk about mentoring for mental health in the main building. She's about to start, I suppose. Okay, so those who would like to attend the mentoring for mental health session can go to the main building. Our ushers will be happy to lead you there. And those who would like to attend the teaching for character presentation, you may stay here. We'd also like to recognize the presence of the Vicar of Opus Dei for the Philippines and Indonesia. Father Julio Degat is here. Thank you, Father, for making time, for coming over. Okay, so we'll begin in 2 minutes. The restrooms are here on your right-hand side. Thank you.